What if I told you that WWE may already have its next world champion standing right in front of us? And somehow, despite defeating Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, despite becoming one of the hottest young stars in wrestling, despite looking like an absolute monster every single week, Oba Femi still might walk away empty-handed. Because right now, WWE has a huge decision to make. Oba Femi has reached the finals of the King of the Ring tournament against Jey Uso, and whoever wins will receive a world title match at SummerSlam. Most fans are already debating who should win, who needs it more, and what WWE is planning. But honestly, when you look at everything that has happened over the past few months, there is one answer that makes more sense than any other. Oba Femi should win the King of the Ring. Not only should he win it, but he should also challenge Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, because if WWE truly wants to create its next megastar, this is the moment they cannot afford to waste. Ever since WrestleMania 42, Oba Femi has looked like a completely different level of superstar. Going into WrestleMania, nobody truly expected him to dominate Brock Lesnar the way he did. Brock Lesnar has spent 2 decades destroying people. He is the beast. He's the final boss for so many wrestlers. Usually Brock dominates the build-up. Usually Brock destroys his opponents before the match even happens. But this time it was different. Oba Femi destroyed Brock repeatedly during the entire road to WrestleMania. Every confrontation made Oba look stronger. Every segment made Brock look vulnerable. And when the actual match happened, Oba didn't just beat Brock Lesnar. He dominated him. He defeated him in convincing fashion, and then witnessed one of the most emotional moments of Brock's career as Brock left his boots and gloves in the ring. At that moment, everyone believed the story was complete. The old monster had passed the torch to the new monster. Oba Femi had retired Brock Lesnar on the grandest stage of them all. It felt perfect. It felt like WWE had finally created its next top attraction. Fans celebrated the moment. People started talking about Oba as the future of WWE. Everything seemed to be moving in the right direction. But then Brock Lesnar returned. Brock came back and attacked Oba Femi, completely changing the direction of the story. Their second match happened at Clash in Italy, and this time Brock got his revenge. The Beast defeated Oba Femi and reminded everyone why he remains one of the most dangerous superstars in wrestling history. Suddenly the rivalry became tied at 1 victory each. Oba won at WrestleMania, Brock won at Clash in Italy, and now everyone knows that a third match is eventually coming. This is where things become very interesting, because while the Brock Lesnar rivalry is still unfinished, Oba Femi has now reached the King of the Ring finals. His opponent is Jey Uso, one of the biggest fan favorites in WWE, and this has created a huge debate among fans. If Oba wins King of the Ring, he earns a world title opportunity at SummerSlam. Most likely, he would challenge Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight Championship. But then what happens to Brock Lesnar? What happens to the third match? Does the story simply disappear? Many people believe the answer is simple. Oba Femi could wrestle twice at SummerSlam. Remember, SummerSlam is now a 2-night event. On night 1, Oba Femi could finally finish his rivalry with Brock Lesnar. The third match would happen in Minneapolis, which has become Brock's second home throughout his wrestling career. It would be the perfect place for Brock to finally retire if WWE decides to go in that direction. Oba defeats Brock one final time, retires the Beast, and completes the story that started at WrestleMania. Then on night 2, King Oba walks into SummerSlam with the crown on his head and challenges Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight Championship. Honestly, that sounds like the making of a superstar. However, there is another possibility. Many fans believe Brock Lesnar could interfere during the King of the Ring final itself. Oba Femi and Jey Uso have their match. Brock appears, attacks Oba, and costs him the tournament. Jey wins the crown and moves on to challenge Cody Rhodes, while Brock and Oba continue their rivalry towards SummerSlam. On paper, this solution works, but there is one major problem. The King of the Ring finals take place in Saudi Arabia, and realistically speaking, it feels very difficult to imagine Brock Lesnar traveling all the way to Saudi Arabia simply to interfere in a match. Brock has one of the lightest schedules in wrestling. He carefully selects his appearances. He rarely shows up unless there is something major involved. Flying across the world just to attack Oba Femi feels unlikely. That is why Oba winning clean actually makes much more sense. And there is another important factor that many people are forgetting. Between Night of Champions and SummerSlam, WWE still has Saturday night's main event at Madison Square Garden, one of the most historic arenas in professional wrestling. If WWE wants to do Brock Lesnar versus Oba Femi Part 3, Madison Square Garden would be the perfect stage. Imagine Oba entering as King of the Ring. Imagine Brock Lesnar challenging him one final time. Imagine Oba defeating Brock at Madison Square Garden and then walking into SummerSlam with all the momentum in the world. At that point, Roman Reigns versus Oba Femi suddenly becomes one of the biggest matches WWE can possibly produce. And honestly, WWE desperately needs that, because when you look at WWE today, almost every major star is over 40 years old. Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton. These names have carried the company for years, but eventually WWE needs the next generation to step forward. Oba Femi could be that next generation. Every time he enters an arena, the crowd reacts. Every time he speaks, people listen. Every time he wrestles, he looks different from everyone else. He has size, he has charisma, he has athleticism, athletic ability, and most importantly, he feels special. WWE has spent years trying to create new stars. Braun Breaker is one of them, Jacob Fatu is another, Trick Williams continues to rise, but Oba Femi might have the highest ceiling of all of them. That is why King of the Ring matters. The crown itself elevates people. Winning King of the Ring tells fans that WWE sees you as a future main event player. The tournament has created legends in the past, and if Oba wins it, suddenly everything changes. He isn't just another young wrestler anymore. He becomes the king. He becomes a legitimate world title challenger. And then there is Roman Reigns. Nobody expects Roman to lose the championship. His previous reign lasted nearly 4 years. Roman is once again at the top of WWE. Most fans believe he will remain champion until WrestleMania. Some believe he will eventually face The Rock. Others believe WWE is building Roman versus Oba for WrestleMania itself. But what if WWE shocks everyone? What if SummerSlam becomes the night where Oba Femi defeats Roman Reigns? Think about the impact. Nobody would see it coming. Nobody expects Roman to lose this early. WWE constantly receives criticism for making title changes predictable. Fans often believe championships only change hands at WrestleMania or after extremely long reigns. Oba defeating Roman would instantly create one of the biggest moments of the entire year, and Roman does not necessarily lose anything. Roman versus The Rock does not need a championship. The story itself is bigger than any title. The family story, the bloodline story, the tribal chief against the final boss. That match sells itself. The championship is not required. Meanwhile, Oba Femi becomes the face of the future. Even if his title reign lasts only a few months, it still creates a new star. Roman can always regain the championship later. The rivalry itself could continue for months. Roman chasing Oba would be something fans have never seen before. And honestly, WWE needs risks right now. For a while now, WWE has felt very safe. The biggest stars stay on top. The title changes rarely happen unexpectedly. Everyone predicts the outcomes months in advance. Oba Femi winning King of the Ring and defeating Roman Reigns would remind fans that anything can happen again, because that is what made wrestling special in the first place. And if WWE truly believes Oba Femi is the future, then there is no better moment than now. He already defeated Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. He already looks like a star. He already has the crowd behind him. He already has momentum. The only question is whether WWE is willing to take the chance, because opportunities like this do not come often. Momentum disappears quickly, fans move on quickly, and sometimes waiting too long can hurt a superstar more than losing ever could. Oba Femi has everything WWE wants: youth, presence, charisma, athleticism, star power, and the ability to make people believe. Winning King of the Ring would make him bigger. Defeating Brock Lesnar one final time would make him stronger. And defeating Roman Reigns at SummerSlam would make him immortal. But now, the question is yours. Do you think Oba Femi should win the King of the Ring and challenge Roman Reigns at SummerSlam? And if that match happens, do you think Oba Femi can actually defeat Roman Reigns and become the next face of WWE? Let me know in the comments below.